guys, we're back at it again. This is DJ from the Culture War, and we are going to talk about another topic that is important to me, something that I've been thinking about for a while. Not so much what happened to this individual, just the wider context of what it might mean. So, if you haven't heard of this story, this is an activist, Sasha Johnson from the UK. She's a BLM activist. She went on numerous protests and stuff talking about, black people, Black Lives Matter, black people need to be respected, black lives are not taken seriously, white people are oppressors, white people hurt black people, all that good stuff. If you don't know, unfortunately she was caught in an incident where someone ran into a party, or a group of individuals I should say, ran into a party, and she was shot in the process. Afterwards, she was taken to the hospital, but she was in critical condition, and the police started their investigation. Well, almost as soon as she was put in the hospital, people started making assumptions about, and I saw it on Twitter, and I should have did it initially when this all came out, but I don't know what I was doing with my life at that point in time, but better late than never, right? So people were talking about how they felt that she was attacked by, white supremacists, individuals that were attacking her because of her political views, individuals that wanted to, hurt her or get her out of the way because of her activism. Well, and actually, let me show this first, where Diane Abbott, who is an MP over in the UK, this is what she said. She said, "Black activist Sasha Johnson in the hospital in critical condition after sustaining a gunshot wound to the head. Nobody should have to potentially pay with their life because they stood up for racial justice. Hashtag Black Lives Matter." Well, almost immediately, we got some more information about the alleged individuals that shot her. It seems that the individuals that shot her were four men that went into a party. UK police believe that they were looking for somebody else, and as they went into the party trying to kill that other person, Sasha ended up shot on accident, or more so, she was caught in an incident that wasn't directly targeting her, and that's what the police have said. And these individuals happen to be black. So immediately after, when the news came out that the first individual was caught and another person was caught, and so on and so forth, and they turned out to be black, you started to hear crickets, which is something that this article from Spike, I have no idea what Spike political affiliation is, if they're right, left, centrist, I have no idea, but I think their commentary on this is pretty poignant. So they say, "Has everyone forgotten about Sasha Johnson?" And then the subtitle says, "The commentary seems only to care about black lives when it fits the anti-racist narrative," in quotations. "Does anyone else think it's a bit weird that we've forgotten about Sasha Johnson? The 27-year-old Black Lives Matter activist remains in critical condition in the hospital after being shot on the 23rd of May. An 18-year-old has appeared in court charged with conspiracy to murder. 5 men have been arrested in total." In the other article, it only showed 4, and they're seem to be pleading not guilty. Don't know if they did, but at that time, that was a couple days ago, it was assumed that they would plead not guilty. Anyway, Johnson was attending a 30th birthday party in Peckham, South London, when she was shot. 4 men reportedly burst into the garden through the side gate, opened fire, and Johnson was not the intended victim. So they just, like most gang violence, which this is what it sounds like it is. They came in, started shooting up the spot. They thought somebody that they were potentially targeting was there. That person happened to not be there, and Sasha got caught in the crossfire, unfortunately. So it goes on to say that people jumped to the gun and said so on and so forth. But ever since the circumstances surrounding the shooting have become clear, the anger seems to have dissipated, which is also something I have noticed. One of the only one can only imagine the sustained outrage if Johnson had been shot for her politics. Yet there's no natural outrage now, no demonstration in the streets. And when George Floyd was killed by the police of Minneapolis, Parliament held a minute of silence. And later leader Keir Starmer was photographed taking a knee alongside his deputy Angela Rayner. For Sasha Johnson, nothing. Someone says people are relieved that she was allegedly caught up in an altercation rather than a targeted assassination attempt. And then it goes on to talk about the reaction to shootings in our society really disregards Black lives, but not in the way that people think. And I'll go into detail about my feelings about that after we talk about this. We no longer seem to care about this kind of violence. We are no longer shocked that 5 men, one of whom is just 18, stand accused of opening fire at a birthday party. We treat nihilistic violence of young men with indifference. Blah blah blah. We need to talk about Sasha Johnson. Now let the shooter fall out. We cannot endorse the idea that this violence is unworthy of attention. If we do, we'll never be able to get a handle on the issue of the knife crime that's afflicting communities across Britain. We will continue to just look away. Now, another thing I want to point out too is her mother, Darling. Darling said that they had been left devastated by the shooting, and her daughter's children keep asking, because Sasha is a mother of 2, and was asking where their mummy is. She was rushed to the hospital. But this is the interesting thing. This is the really interesting thing in all of this. Richard Leonard told the BBC, nobody who was at the party has yet provided information to the police, and her family were concerned that people are not coming forward to help us. And the mother of Sasha Johnson said, what's happened to Sasha has left us devastated. She is fighting for her life in the hospital with 2 children asking for where her mom is and what do I tell them. She also added that Sasha is passionate for standing up for others. Please come forward and stand up for Sasha. And basically they're begging people to come forward. But this is always an interesting thing right here, where you see where nobody at the party is coming forward to the police and giving them any information on what happened, who might it be, if there is a connection, who they might be looking for. Because you know why? Because the Black community doesn't give a shit about Black people when they get killed by other Black people. They only care about Black people when they are killed by white people. That's it. They don't care about what's happening in places like Chicago. They don't care about what's happening in places like Baltimore, Minneapolis, New York, the violence, the crazy amount of violence that's going on. Hell, in Atlanta, not just gun crime, but violent crime in general that's been rising since the summer and the COVID lockdowns. The violence across the nation that's been happening in inner city communities. They don't care about Black people unless that Black person's life can be used to push an agenda, push a political or ideological viewpoint, not because they actually want to stop violence in the community. They want to sell Black people on the fact that you gotta watch out for those white people, so on and so forth. But in reality, I and many other Black people have more likely of a chance to get killed by somebody that is Black just like them, and more than likely it'd be a man, just more like me. So this speaks, like I said, to this hypocrisy of Black Lives Matter, the hypocrisy of these activists, because they'll ignore it. This is something that constantly here happens in the community, where people may know what may happen, may have leads on who might have did it, why they might have did it, but they don't go to the police. They don't try to get these individuals that are committing these crimes off the streets, so they don't victimize and terrorize other Black people who are actually trying to do something positive. Now, I might disagree with Sasha about her views. I might disagree about how she's gone about her cause, and I may disagree about, like I said, her ideological views and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, this is a situation where somebody's life was almost taken away. And she's, from what I've seen, she's still in critical condition. She hasn't passed away. This is a situation where someone's life could be changed and altered drastically. Her children, I'm assuming other black kids, her children may lose their mother for this. Her mother, Sasha Johnson's mother, may have to bury her child. And not because of Sasha's activism, not because of her political beliefs, but because some other people in the black community had some beef with some other people, and they went to go take care of that in a violent manner. And they didn't go after, just specifically look for that person and go after them. No, they just sprayed into the crowd and said, fuck it. Again, that's something that happens constantly in these communities. And as you see people and these activists say, well, we're so hurt. This is exhausting that we have to continue to talk about this. I am emotionally drained and I just don't know how to communicate and continue to talk about these things. That's it's really good manipulation. That's all that is. Because what they really, like the article said here, what they're really, okay with, what they really think have normalized, and what they really are drained emotionally of, and they just don't, feel like fighting anymore. It's not that important. It's when other black people die at the hands of other black people for some bullshit such as gang violence. That's all. Let me tell you a story about my getting a little personal here. Let me tell you a story about my life, or at least something that happened in my life. My cousin, who was 7 years old at the time, was killed at his birthday party in a similar manner to this. Some individuals down where they were looking for the friend's boyfriend, and by I mean friends, it's the friend of my cousin's mother. So they had the party at his mother's friend's house. They were looking for that friend's boyfriend. They went in there looking for money that apparently the friend's boyfriend owed them, and I don't know if it was drugs or other things, but they went in there looking for that. And because no one knew, they sat there and they pretty much executed everyone in there. I'm talking about point blank, shot people in the face, shot people in the head, execution style. Some of these individuals were in critical condition. Some, unfortunately, like my cousin and his mother, passed away pretty much immediately. Black people that did that against other black people over some bullshit. They didn't care about who they were hurting that day. They didn't care about who their lives that they were changing and altering that day. They just felt that they needed to, get theirs, and they were going to get it by any means possible. But stories like that, people don't hear about stories like that. People don't care about stories like that in the black community. Yeah, they'll shout and they'll scream and they'll jump and ray when there's other white people talking, It's a situation where somebody of another race kills a black person, specifically a white person, and in their mind, hopefully a police officer, so they can use that as propaganda too. But they don't talk about the average everyday person. They don't talk about the shootings in Chicago over Father's Day, where last year, where there were, several people dead, almost like 24 people dead, I think, and 80 some odd injured. Or there was that the Memorial Day weekend. It was something like that. But they don't talk about stuff like that. They don't talk about holding these individuals accountable and trying to fix up the community and the culture around the community, and fix the cultural rot that's in the community that could potentially solve pretty much every issue that we have financially, and so on and so forth. They turn a blind eye to that because it doesn't fit a narrative. And just like Sasha Johnson here, who unfortunately whose life has changed and whose life has been altered based off of just individuals trying to get theirs, trying to go after somebody, and not caring about who they hurt. Those people don't matter. Those people don't matter to them. So yeah, I'll leave you with that. And this is one of the things that really pissed me off. So I wish, like, it's upsetting more so than anything, and I could get more animated, but it's kind of, what's that gonna solve? Maybe if I yell and shake somebody, people in the black community, they'll listen. But then again, you tell them stuff like this, and they'll say black on black crime isn't an issue. Black on black crime isn't a real thing. People kill people in proximity all the time. It's just these people just live next to each other, So of course their victims are going to be black, but they don't talk about the number of people that are dead. And their black community percentage and black population percentage in the U.S. has stayed around 12% since I was a kid, and before that hasn't grown. Why do you think that is? Violence in the communities, and funny enough, abortions. The amount of abortions that happen in the community. But they don't talk about those things. They'll talk about some white dude, that killed some black guy, and whatever if it's a justified altercation or not, they'll highlight that, but they won't highlight the bullshit in the community. I got many other stories. Neighborhood down the street only got better. There's a neighborhood down the street from me called HOL, and they only got better because, we called it that. And they only got better because all the people that were there terrorizing people, hurting people, they either died or went to jail. The only reason why that neighborhood is somewhat better is a far cry from what it was before. It's not perfect, but it's not like it was before. But anyway, those are my thoughts. Again, understand that these activists and these people are gaming you. They don't actually care about you. They just want to use you, and they want to use you for their political agenda and their propaganda war and the ideological war, so they can gain power within government and so on and so forth. So yeah. Again, this has been DJ from the Culture War. Let me go before I keep just going off on another topic. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me how I'm doing. Tell me how I can improve. Tell me what you like about what I'm doing. Links in the description, Odyssey, BitChute, other socials, and so on and so forth. And the links to these articles will be there. And have a great day. See you.